Hey everybody, November 2025 promises to be a fascinating month as we're going to have Mars, Mercury, and the Sun in the sign of Sagittarius. Mercury is going to go retrograde and Jupiter is going to go retrograde, and Jupiter rules Sagittarius. So we're having some sort of major redirect, returnaround, redo, reevaluation and and making sure that we're in alignment because Saturn is also in retrograde and Saturn's going to go direct at the end of the month. So Saturn and Jupiter are making this beautiful trine, Mercury in retrograde. Now, all three of these planets are going to be in retrograde, making sure that we reevaluate, we go back and we redo something from the past that we've left behind, need to redo, need to learn better, or need to integrate more in our psyche before we can go forward when Saturn stations direct at the end of the month. All right, here we are at the beginning of November with Mercury in the sign of Sagittarius. Mars is going to oppose Uranus before it moves into Sagittarius here in a day or two, which will cause some sort of upset, possibly it can be a volatile, sudden violence, sudden upheavals, and it can be a shock and awe energy, crisis energy, and degree point of Scorpio. But other than that, the month looks beautiful after we get over that hump. But Mercury is going to start going retrograde here on the 9th, and then Jupiter follows in retrograde. And Jupiter is making this beautiful trine to Saturn, and the Sun will join that trine. Venus will join that trine in the month of November, which is a beautiful backdrop of harmony, calm, peace, blessings, intuitive intelligence, connecting, reflecting these energies because we've got all this retrogradation with Jupiter in retrograde, Mercury in retrograde, Saturn in retrograde. And then with that Mercury in retrograde, we're going back, we're reconnecting with people that we need to reconnect with, that are really a part of our future, that are a part of our Dharma. Sagittarius is all about our Dharma, being on our calling, being on our purpose, following a destiny, following a destined path. And then Jupiter is blessing that with long-term opportunities and abundance and expansion. But when it's in retrograde, we're really reevaluating and we're integrating what we have learned so far and really leaning on what we've learned and really seeing if we've learned it on a psyche level, that it's integrated as a part of who we are now. Planets go direct, we learn a lot. Jupiter direct, Jupiter retrograde, we go back and we discover what we have learned, what is real, what is solid in what we have learned that we can really lean on and use for our own personal expansion. So, Jupiter retrograde, ruling all these planets in Sagittarius. The Sun's going to go into Sagittarius in the 21st of November. And Mercury will be retrograde back into Scorpio, forming another opposition to Uranus, which could bring another deep secrets, revelations, people from the past coming in. Mercury retrograde, we're reevaluating people from our past, choices we made in the past that were not necessarily put us in the right direction. People we left behind that are part of that are really supportive of our true dharmic path that we need to go back and reconnect with. Ideas, projects that we may have not felt strong enough to do or courageous enough to do. Because remember, we have a Jupiter who is ruling all of these planets in Sagittarius, squaring Chiron, giving us the courage and healing us to be initiators and to start these dharmic callings and missions, or shall we say purposes, or what we're here to do, which is going to bring the world into a better place. When we follow our dharmic path collectively, we make heaven on earth, basically. So Jupiter and Saturn is making this beautiful trine, blessing us with opportunities and rewards, you could say, from the squares that happened before with Jupiter Saturn square, where we're now starting to see opportunities in the results of our efforts that will solidify and stabilize an abundant future for us, right? But with this retrogradation, we have to go back and fix something or reconnect with someone or redo a project or come back and reevaluate something we believe. Maybe we have a new belief system. Maybe we can do something now with our new belief, with that Jupiter squaring Chiron. We have the faith in it. Now we can go back and take on a project or take on a relationship or an idea. Go back, retrieve this this good thing that is going to improve our lives and expand our lives. And now we're going to bring it back into our journey, our forward destiny. And then when Saturn goes direct here at the end of the month, it really takes us forward on that, with that new aligned, shall we say, things that we retrieved from the past, people, ideas, projects. And then we're bringing them with us forward. Now, Jupiter's going to stay in retrograde. Mercury's going to go out of retrograde in December. Saturn's going to be out of retrograde in December, but Jupiter's going to continue its retrogradation, which means we're continuing to draw on what we have internally learned, and we're continuing to integrate wisdom, knowledge, experience. And it's a long retrogradation, but it is in its abundant sign of Cancer, so it shouldn't block abundance. It should continue to feed us abundance. Only we're really leaning on an internal wisdom that we have developed in the last. Well, all of this journey began in December 21, 2020. So we've learned a lot. We've gained a lot of wisdom in our experience and in our learning. Jupiter is about learning and growing consciousness and awareness. So we've made a lot of new awareness, new knowledge. So now when Jupiter goes into retrograde, we then apply it. We then see, did we really learn something, or was it only head deep, or did it change who we were? Now at Jupiter retrograde, we see that it has changed who we are, and we now act from that internal place of knowing rather than external. So we have two lunations, as always, every month. We're going to have a full moon in Taurus on the 5th of November. And that is going to be a super abundant full moon, 13 degrees of Taurus. Super abundant full moon. Anytime you're going to get the moon in Taurus, we're really going to get some nice harvest, especially a full moon. We're harvesting. We're reaping the rewards on a full moon. We're seeing the results of some sort of a nice, abundant, strong, stable, long-term results from some sort of effort that we may have seeded in the new moon in May. So we're seeing sort of the harvest of that, and it looks very abundant and sort of we could say it's a very rich produce with a lot of nutrients, nurturing us to continue on this highly supported path that we're on by the universe, feeding us lots of richness. And then we're going to have a new moon in Scorpio on the 20th. And the new moon in Scorpio on the 20th is pretty intense because it's at the end degree point of Scorpio. So it's like kind of a crisis degree. So for some people, this could be a situation of sort of intensity, upset. But there's a crisis often at the end degree point. But again, it depends on your own personal chart, if it's giving you a harsh angle, but if not, it's a really beautiful new moon where we really clear old fears. With this Saturn Jupiter trine, it's really supporting our forward momentum. By this point, Saturn is still in retrograde, but we're really finding some deep clearing, some purging of transformative of the fears, some deep fears that have been holding us back from taking our nice path, because it really does. This new moon is a part of that water trine, which brings us into a harmonic flow towards our destiny, a stable new future. So we're really breaking through some sort of deep fear, inner fear that's blocking our destiny with that new moon. And so this is a new moon, a new beginning from a newly healed, or shall we say, purged, brave, the end of that, because whenever you get to the end degree point, Neptune is making a trine to Neptune. So it's sort of some sort of a blessing as a result of having done some internal transformative work. We now have a new seed, a new beginning from sort of fresh soil. So very fertile new moon. And so that takes us pretty much to the end of the month there. Saturn stationing direct, I'm going to go into all the 12 signs now. Saturn stationing direct is going to bring a lot of forward momentum on top of the retrograde energy. So we get a nice, Saturn's been in retrograde, so things have felt possibly pretty blocked and slow and heavy. So then when Saturn starts moving direct, we start to feel it's a slow build momentum, which is really going to take strong traction in February when it goes into Aries. So we're realigning in these energies, getting back, making sure we're in the right path, in the right Dharmic destiny, with the right people, the right projects, the right ideas, so that when Saturn goes direct, we're in alignment, going forward with those things. And again, this is all with a reflective, with the month beginning with this retrogradation. We're really connecting with our higher selves, our souls, and really connecting with what our soul is here to do. And we're just finding the path forward, clarifying that path forward this month. And it will go very strongly forward by the we'll start to really feel a momentum start to build by the end of the month. All right, have a wonderful month. Namaste. All right, Virgo, the month begins with this intense volatile energy of Mars opposing Uranus in your third and in your 10th. Now, this could bring some disruption, information, or news that is disruptive and perhaps involving people that are around you, people you know, that could tilt the destiny or make you change plans. Uranus, when Uranus is involved, there is shock and awe and change of directions and out of the blue adjustments that have to be made. So again, these could be positive or negative. You could experience it in a rather shadow because Scorpio tends to be a bit intense and can be perceived as a negative transit, but really what's happening is there is a breakthrough and a transformation occurring in your communication and in your thinking and perceptions, or what you thought you knew, which opens you up to your path and into some sort of liberated release. Some sort of pent up emotion is released, and then you find yourself sort of breaking through some kind of deep down fear. That transformation occurs, which then helps you align with your dharmic, your purpose, your true connections, the people that are aligned with your dharma, your purpose calling path. And that's going to open up for you in this month because this grand water trines is blessing your relationship houses, the 11th, the 7th, and the 3rd. The 7th is your one-on-one contracted connections. The 11th is the people that are around, like your tribe. And then the 3rd is the people that are like around you on a day-to-day, like your siblings, business partners, neighbors, etc. The 3rd house is also a business. And Gemini is very much a business energy. Uranus in Gemini. So maybe you suddenly get this connection or contact from somebody, because we're going to have Mercury in retrograde here, I'm going to talk about, and Jupiter in retrograde, where you suddenly start a new career or new business. And that Mars is, Mars is the energy of doing things. Then Mars will move into the 5th house, your 4th house, where the opposition occurs, and Uranus is going to move into your 9th house. So basically the opposition is going to be from your 9th and your 10th and your 3rd and your 4th houses, which is information, knowledge around beliefs, your higher consciousness, knowledge, sort of awakening energy, realizing something you thought may not have been true when Mercury opposes Uranus in your 4th. A belief system is changed. Perhaps you do move in that transit, or you relocate 4th and 3rd, are very relocation energies. All right, so now moving forward to the new full moon in Taurus, and that is going to be in your, let me get to the right house here, in your 9th house of travel. So potentially you up and travel, and you have an opportunity comes in to seek or go to school, to wander, but this is abundant energy, or it could be that this is the results of some seed that you planted last new moon or the new moon 2 years ago, and now you get some sort of abundant result from something you learned. You initiated learning, maybe perhaps something like astrology or higher philosophy or a language. Now you know it. Now you get to reap the rewards, get the fruits of that effort you made to learn something, and there is an abundant results. So perhaps you get paid to travel or get paid to be an interpreter. But this is a very abundant energy, what opens travel, higher consciousness learning, and brings you beautiful results from the efforts you have made in previous Taurus new moons. So then we're going to have the next thing we're going to see is Mercury going retrograde in your 4th house. So Mercury going retrograde is going to happen on the 9th here, or the 10th, where you either reevaluate a family situation, a living situation, go back to living in another place where you once lived, um, start communicating with perhaps people from the past that you've known in your family, your childhood. It could be that your family, maybe there is some sort of family member coming from the past you've lost contact with, but or you are deciding to reevaluate your living situation and decide to move. But Jupiter will also go retrograde a day or two afterwards, and Jupiter is in your 11th house of long-term gains. Nice trine to the sun, too, where there is some sort of expansion in your tribe. And this is a retrograde motion, too. So there could be people coming in from the past here that you then maybe relocate and live if this is a true connection. Like a lot of people, especially with Saturn in your seventh house, you're clearing karmic connections or karmic patterns in relationships. So when Saturn goes direct at the end of the month, you're going to be aligning here, most likely with the right relationship and the right living situation that is supposed to be a part of your future. Now, with these reflective energies in the grand water trine, you're really reflecting on the relationship you truly want. What is a true, real deal relationship for you that will last 29-year cycle? We're preparing for the 29-year cycle that's going to initiate when Saturn, well, we're going to feel the momentum building of that 29-year cycle building at the end of the month when Saturn stations direct in your seventh house. So you're going to feel momentum building in a relationship. And then things go forward to joint resources when Saturn in February goes into Aries. February 14th, Valentine's Day. So it could be a romantic day for you, Virgo. So, this beautiful grand water trine is blessing you with long-term abundance and stabilities in your dharmic, your destined path that you desire, because the 11th house is our desires, 7th house is our desires. And then this is like long-term goals and wins. So we're reflecting on some sort of internal knowledge or lessons we've learned since 2020, 12, 21, 2020, when Jupiter, Saturn conjoined. So now you've learned a lot. We've learned a lot. We're now able to sort of reap some sort of reward from that. But we are retrograding in that until March, where we become integrated with what we've learned, and we don't have to sort of go back to our textbooks and see if to remember what it was that we learned. I mean, we're really starting to operate from what we've learned, and it's integrated and it's bringing abundance and lots of gains and recognition potentially. So, that's the Jupiter retrograde. We talked about Mercury retrograde. Now we're going to look, and we talked about the new moon. Now we're going to go to the 20th and go to that new moon Scorpio, which is going to be in your second house of fight. Well, actually, we need to go back to that because now I'm not in Virgo anymore. So there's Virgo. So we've got this new moon Scorpio at the intense degree opposite Uranus. Again, this could reactivate the beginning of the month. Whatever happened with Mars Uranus opposition, this time Uranus is in Mars. I'm sorry, in Taurus. So again, this is potential drama in this new moon, but it clears some deep down purging, transformative energy that helps us feel brave. And the third house is like running a new business, starting a new media project. And the third house comes with a lot of bravery and a lot of guts to step out and do this. So it's like you get a lot of guts to step forward and perhaps do a media project with a divine counterpart, with partners, agreements, or business operations. And then you're just going to advertise or get into the community or become or volunteer or become involved in some sort of humanitarian effort in media, involving media and a partnership, perhaps a divine counterpart relationship, a soul contract here. So that is a beautiful new moon, although it does come with some disruption. Again, these are energies whenever you're going to see a Uranian contact but this energy sextiles and trines your first house and seventh house. So I would say this is more of a positive experience for you in this new moon and initiates a new relationship or one from the past, because we do have Mercury in retrograde. Where are you? Mercury retrograde right on this new moon. So it's most likely a relationship from the past, somebody from the past that you've known. You may come into contact from them through social media. And this turns into a solid, serious connection that's going to last 29 years. So, and Saturn stationing direct again, you're going to, at the end of the month, we're going to see momentum moving in that seventh house relationship long term. You're going to start feeling like this is the real deal. This is going to last. And stability is going to return in in your life and in your relationships um, area of your life. And home living situation could shift and change as a result of accommodating a new long-term relationship. All right, have a wonderful month. If you wouldn't mind liking and subscribing if you have not already, and if you would like a personal reading, feel free to contact me at soulevels.com. Namaste.